Grandpa's 35 plus amazing handyman tips and hacks that work extremely well. 1. Use a screwdriver and a magnet for easy screw pickup. Grandpa always kept a small magnet on hand, and here's why. He'd rub it along the shaft of a screwdriver to magnetize it. Suddenly, dropped screws were no longer a pain to grab. This trick makes one-handed jobs easier, especially when working in tight or overhead spaces. It also helps keep screws from falling off while trying to set them into place. You save time and avoid crawling around the floor. All it takes is a simple fridge magnet to turn any screwdriver into a smart tool. 2. Rubber band over a stripped screw head. Stripped screw heads are a common headache, but Grandpa had a no-cost fix. He'd lay a wide rubber band flat over the head, then press the screwdriver firmly into it. The rubber grips the metal just enough to give you torque. This trick often works when power tools or even pliers fail. It saves the wood and the screw, especially on older furniture. Keep a few rubber bands in your toolbox. They're more useful than you think. It's an old-school trick that still works wonders today. 3. Soap a screw to make it glide into wood. Grandpa would drag the tip of a wood screw across a bar of soap before driving it in. The soap acts as a natural lubricant, making the screw twist in smoothly without splitting the wood. It's especially helpful with hardwood or when reassembling old joints. If he didn't have soap, wax, or even a candle stub work too. This trick makes manual jobs easier and extends the life of your tools. Plus, it's free. Just check the bathroom drawer. 4. Nail polish for thread locking screws. Instead of expensive thread locker, Grandpa reached for Grandma's clear nail polish. He'd dab a small amount on the threads of a loose screw before tightening it. Once dry, it kept the screw in place, resisting vibration. He used it in everything from cabinet hinges to tool handles. It's a great hack for household repairs where a little extra hold is needed. No fancy tools required, just a bottle of polish and steady hands. 5. Use a clothespin to hold nails for hammering. Tired of smashed fingers? Grandpa had a fix for that too. He'd grab a wooden clothespin to hold tiny nails upright while hammering. It gave him control without risking his fingertips, especially useful for trim work or awkward corners. Once the nail was set, he'd just pull the pin away. It's one of those little hacks that makes a big difference and keeps the band-aids in the cabinet where they belong. 6. Mark drill depth with masking tape. Drilling too far can ruin a project fast. Grandpa used masking tape to mark drill depth on the bit. He'd wrap it around the bit at the exact depth he needed, simple and accurate. When the tape hits the surface, you know it's time to stop. It's a great trick for hanging shelves or installing hardware. No guesswork, no over-drilling, just clean, perfect holes every time. 7. Save old toothbrushes for tight cleaning jobs. Grandpa never threw away an old toothbrush. He used them to clean tools, window tracks, or around faucets. The bristles are perfect for scrubbing out grime in hard-to-reach spots. Add a dab of vinegar or dish soap, and you've got a precision cleaning brush. It's a zero-cost way to extend the life of your tools and fixtures. Just label it for cleaning and toss it in the toolbox. 8. Use a zip tie as a mini clamp. Grandpa didn't always have fancy clamps, and he didn't need them. For small glue jobs, he'd use zip ties to hold pieces together while they dried. They're cheap, fast, and perfect for awkward shapes that regular clamps can't grip. Once the glue set, he'd snip the tie off and move on. He always kept a handful of zip ties in his workshop drawer. You'll be amazed how many fixes you can do with a little plastic tie and some creativity. 9. Pencil as a lubricant for stuck locks. If a key stuck in the door, Grandpa reached for a pencil, specifically the graphite inside. He'd rub the pencil tip along the key's grooves, then slide it into the lock a few times. The graphite acted as a dry lubricant, helping the mechanism turn smoothly. It's safer than oil, which can attract dirt and gum up the works. He even sharpened pencils just to dust the inside of sticky locks. This trick can keep your old locks working like new. 10. Tape a magnet to the bottom of your hammer. Grandpa's hammer always had a small magnet taped to the bottom of the handle. Why? To hold extra nails while working overhead or on a ladder. It saved trips up and down and kept one hand free for balance. He'd tape it snug with duct tape and replace it as needed. It turned a regular hammer into a smart tool. Sometimes the old upgrades are better than anything you can buy. 11. Use an empty can as a paint drip catcher. When painting indoors, Grandpa hated mess. He'd poke a hole in the side of an empty soup can and slide the handle of his paintbrush through it. The can caught any drips and served as a resting spot between strokes. He even used it to store small amounts of paint for tight spaces. Lightweight, reusable, and easy to hang on a ladder, it was a no-cost solution to a messy problem. Practical and clean, just how Grandpa liked it. 12. Sandpaper on a paint stir stick for tight spots. To smooth out corners or crevices, Grandpa wrapped sandpaper around a wooden paint stir stick. This gave him control and precision in tight areas, like window trim or cabinet corners. He'd even cut the stick to size for smaller gaps. No need for fancy tools, just smart repurposing. It worked better than a sanding block in delicate spots. A clever little trick that's especially handy for detail work. 13. Coffee cans as organizers. Grandpa saved every coffee can and used them to organize everything: screws, bolts, drill bits, you name it. He labeled each lid with a marker and stacked them on shelves in the garage. Some were bolted to the underside of workbenches for easy swivel access. With clear tops or a quick peek inside, he always knew where everything was. It was storage before plastic bins were a thing. Still just as smart today. 14. WD-40 to clean and protect garden tools. After every gardening session, Grandpa sprayed a little WD-40 on his shovel and pruning shears. It removed dirt, prevented rust, and made the next use easier. He'd wipe it down with a rag and store it clean. This habit kept his tools sharp and rust-free for decades. It wasn't just about the job, it was about respecting the tools that did it. That kind of care paid off year after year. 15. Use chalk to stop drawer sticking. Old wooden drawers sticking? Grandpa rubbed white chalk or a bar of soap along the runners. It reduced friction and made them glide like new. The waxy texture of chalk filled small gaps and repelled moisture. It worked wonders on dressers, toolboxes, and even old window frames. One pass, and it felt like you'd installed new hardware. It's simple, fast, and quietly brilliant. 16. Use a rubber glove to grip stuck jar lids. Grandpa didn't need fancy gadgets to open a stuck jar lid. He just grabbed a clean rubber glove. The extra grip made it easier to twist open even the tightest lid. He kept one under the sink just for this purpose. It worked better than a dish towel and never slipped. For really stubborn jars, he'd tap the lid with a spoon to break the seal first. This was his go-to trick for tight caps, old paint cans, and even rusted thermos tops. 17. Turn a screwdriver into a mini chisel. Need to scrape, pry, or wedge something? Grandpa reached for his oldest flathead screwdriver. He'd use it like a mini chisel, perfect for popping trim off walls or scraping glue off wood. The tip was already worn down from years of use, so he didn't mind abusing it. He always kept one rough screwdriver in the toolbox just for tasks like this. No need for a full set of chisels, just smart improvising. 18. Use clothespins to hold glue joints. When clamping wasn't possible, Grandpa used old-fashioned clothespins. They were perfect for small gluing jobs, model repairs, furniture trims, even crafts. He'd keep a whole basket of them in the shop. They applied just enough pressure to hold things in place without squeezing too hard. You don't always need fancy clamps. Sometimes you just need a little spring-loaded wooden helper. 19. Use a mason jar to catch sawdust under a drill. To avoid a mess when drilling into walls or ceilings, Grandpa would tape a small mason jar under the drill site. As he drilled, the falling dust collected right inside the jar. No vacuum, no broom needed. If he was working on a ceiling, he'd even use the lid with a hole cut in it. This little trick kept job sites clean and Grandma happy. Plus, the jar doubled as screw storage afterward. 20. Use an old belt as a tool hanger. Grandpa's workshop had old belts hanging from nails, and they weren't for fashion. He used them to loop around rakes, hammers, and even extension cords. The leather was strong, flexible, and easy to cut into custom loops. One belt could become 5 tool holders. It was a perfect way to organize without spending a dime. Every old belt had a second life in the garage. 21. Bread twist ties to label wires. When organizing electronics or tools, Grandpa used bread bag twist ties as labels. He'd write on the plastic tab with a marker, lamp, charger, drill, and wrap it around the cord. This made it easy to identify wires behind desks or in storage bins. It cost nothing and took seconds to do. Simple, smart, and effective, just the way Grandpa liked it. 22. Use a razor blade to remove paint from glass. Instead of using harsh chemicals, Grandpa used a single-edge razor blade to scrape dried paint from glass windows. He'd hold it at a shallow angle and carefully shave off the paint. It worked like a charm on old panes, picture frames, or glass cabinet doors. Sometimes he'd add a bit of soapy water for smoother motion. No scratching, no fumes, just clean, clear glass every time. 23. Save dryer lint as fire starter. Grandpa never wasted anything, including dryer lint. He'd stuff it into toilet paper rolls or egg cartons, then drizzle melted wax or used cooking oil over it. Once cooled, he had perfect fire starters for the fireplace or camping trips. It burned hot and fast, catching kindling with ease. Better than newspaper and completely free. He always had a box ready by winter. 24. Ziploc bags to organize screws during projects. Every time Grandpa took apart furniture or electronics, he'd place all the screws, washers, and bolts into labeled Ziploc bags. He'd write where each one came from, chair back, table leg, and so on. It made reassembly faster and stress-free. No more mystery screws left on the floor. This habit saved time, prevented mistakes, and made even big jobs feel manageable. 25. Use old socks as dusting mitts. Worn-out socks didn't go in the trash. They went into Grandpa's cleaning bucket. He'd slip one on his hand like a mitt, spritz it with vinegar or polish, and wipe down shelves, blinds, and fan blades. The thick cotton trapped dust better than paper towels. After cleaning, he'd toss it in the laundry for reuse. It was a soft, washable cleaning cloth that didn't cost a thing. 26. Use a nail to start a screw hole. Before power drills were common, Grandpa used nails to start screw holes. He'd lightly tap a nail into wood where he planned to place a screw, then remove it. That tiny starter hole made it easier to drive the screw straight, especially into hardwood. It also prevented the wood from splitting. This little prep step saved effort and made the finished job look cleaner. A hammer and nail can still compete with fancy pilot bits any day. 27. Use baking soda paste to remove rust from tools. Grandpa didn't toss rusty tools, he revived them. He'd mix baking soda with a little water into a thick paste and spread it over the rust. After letting it sit for an hour or so, he scrubbed it off with a wire brush or steel wool. The rust lifted off, revealing clean metal underneath. This method saved old wrenches, garden tools, and even nuts and bolts. It's cheap, non-toxic, and incredibly effective for small-scale rust jobs. 28. A wood dowel as a hidden patch for stripped holes. When a screw wouldn't grip anymore, Grandpa reached for a wooden dowel or matchstick. He'd dip it in wood glue, stick it into the stripped hole, and snap it off flush. Once dry, he'd screw back into the same spot, this time with solid bite. It was a near-permanent fix without replacing the whole part. Whether fixing a loose hinge or drawer pull, this old trick still works like a charm. 29. Old newspapers as a drop cloth substitute. Grandpa didn't always have fancy painter's tarps. He had stacks of old newspaper. Before painting, staining, or sanding, he'd spread pages on the floor and secure them with masking tape. They absorbed drips, dust, and paint splatter without costing a cent. Afterward, cleanup was as simple as rolling them up and tossing them out. Newspapers also worked well under furniture legs to protect floors during repairs. 30. Reuse glass jars for screw and nail storage. No jar in Grandpa's house went to waste. Pickle jars, salsa jars, peanut butter jars. He washed and relabeled them all. Each one held a specific type of screw, nail, or bolt. He'd glue the jar lids to the underside of shelves so he could screw the jars up for easy access. You could see everything at a glance.